Here we go, another video game adaptation. You know what, the trailer for this hasn't been bad at all. Maybe there's hope for it. I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. This is a nightmare. Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the most successful video game franchises in the world. I'm surprised it took until 2020 to make a live action film. They were quick to throw out a Mario film.
Name? Mario. Last name?
Mario.
Okay, what's your name?
Luigi.
Luigi?
No, Luigi Mario.
Maybe it was a good thing that the producers took their time with Sonic. So what is the purpose of these video game turn to film adaptations? It's not for the story, there's only one thing on the producer's mind. Will it make them enough money to settle for their divorce? The movie is one big commercial. It didn't matter if it was going to be good or bad. There is a massive fan base for Sonic, so it was almost guaranteed not to fail. And the trailer did enough to get people talking about it. Not for a good reason though. There was no real expectation for what this film could achieve. I mean, the track record for video game adaptations has not been good at all, so it was somewhat of a gamble from Paramount. But they had a choice: make a movie that's already attached to a successful source material, or make an original movie. And I think we know which one they chose. I'm sorry, I thought this was the Sonic movie, not Legend of the Guardians Owls of Ga'Hoole. So Sonic is an alien. His only protector, being an owl, sacrifices herself so Sonic can flee to Earth via a ring portal. Well, this could be fun. Not a bad start at all. You know what? The tone of this movie is really working for me. The humour isn't bad, and you can tell the movie is having a lot of fun with this concept by not being too serious and not being over the top corny. We get to know the type of life Sonic is living. He has lived on Earth in secret without being caught, because if he were to expose himself, this would presumably attract the attention of the weird looking tribe that I presume killed the Owl of Ga'Hoole. And what does he do on Earth? Well, he has a really cool hideout where he spends all his time playing games and reading comic books. And when he goes outside, he stalks people.
Basically, we're like a family, even though we haven't met yet.
Yeah, I think Sonic might be a psychopathic incel, but he's fast and a hedgehog, so it's cute, not creepy. I really don't think this would have worked with his original design. Even though Sonic is crazy and demonstrates clear signs of mental illness, it was clear this wasn't heading in the direction of the Joker. And believe me, that was a surprise, since Sonic's anxiety and social issues are far worse than the Joker. But the story doesn't just focus on him. There is Tom Wachowski, a sheriff of a small town named Green Hills who has just been accepted by the San Francisco police, which means Sonic won't be able to stalk his imaginary family anymore because they'll be moving. I mean, this really has the perfect setup for a Sonic revenge horror show. So this is where the plot kicks in. Sonic is so lonely that he starts running at such a fast speed that causes a power outage across the Pacific West. This prompts the US government to call in Dr. Robotnik to investigate. A strange but inventive way to mark the first inciting incident of the movie. Dr. Robotnik is played by Jim Carrey, who is quite frankly the best part of this movie. He is over the top and quirky, but in the best way possible, because it makes every scene of his memorable. Dr. Robotnik tracks down Sonic, so he has no choice but to leave Earth. I don't know why Sonic froze here. He had plenty of time to hide from him. He loses the portal rings in San Francisco. Tom reluctantly helps Sonic, and the two flee the crazy doctor as fugitives.
Reminded me of the guys from Men in Black, but not as likable or charming as Will Smith.
To be fair to the writers, no one could have predicted what happened, although this movie was made after the infamous YouTube Rewind, which is far worse than The Slap.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Can we help you?
We don't like your kind around here.
We don't take kindly to folks that don't take kindly around here.
I don't think a bar fight was necessary other than to fill time and create a bond between Sonic and Tom. And of course, we weren't going to be left empty-handed without having a rip-off Quicksilver scene. Is this what's going to happen every time a movie has a super fast character? It worked the first time, but it gets old pretty fast. Oh, can't forget about the selfie. Hilarious stuff. Wow, he's even giving him a wedgie. Who thought of these creative moves? It must have taken long into the night for the writers to get this prepared. And after a cat and mouse chase, Sonic is injured in an explosion caused by one of Robotnik's devices. This was a far more entertaining sequence than the bar scene. Not because this had more relevance to the plot, but because there were consequences in the character's actions. I didn't shed a tear, but at least something was happening, and that was thanks to Robotnik's persistence, which was really the driving force of the movie's quality.
What do I look like, an imbecile? Of course I want a latte. I love the way you make them!
Honestly, without Jim Carrey, I think this movie would have been far less entertaining. This was my favourite part of the movie. The energy he brings to evoke the mad scientist that is Robotnik is second to none. Okay, are they going to keep this gimmick going? Like I said before, it works once, but this is just a cheap way of getting out of obstacles by literally stopping time. If they were going to do this stop time gimmick, they would have saved it for this scene and not at the bar. All this movie really needed was chase scenes. No dialogue required, unless it's coming from Robotnik, just Sonic running at lightning speed from portal to portal in fun locations across the world. It's a little bit like Monsters Inc. And now I really want to watch Monsters Inc. As Robotnik has Sonic in his grasp, the townsfolk of Green Hills stand up to the Doctor. A wholesome and tender moment of friendship surrounding Sonic and these people who have barely been developed or even worth remembering. But the movie has to end somehow. This could have worked if Sonic was initially rejected by the townsfolk and seen as a pest. It would have been far more satisfying to see them stand up for him in that scenario.
He was my friend.
That's all you need to wake anyone from unconsciousness: friendship. And you all know this iconic scene, the famous quote when the movie character reveals, "I am Sonic the Hedgehog." Tom and Sonic defeat Robotnik by sending him to the Mushroom World. I don't know if this relates to the Mushroom Kingdom, which begs the question, are we going to get a live-action Mario and Sonic Olympic Games?
You get that boy.
When it comes to iconic painting wall scenes, nothing better comes to mind than the scene in 13 Reasons Why when Bryce and his mother bonded while painting. So they shouldn't have even tried in Sonic because it doesn't have the same impact. In the end, it's revealed that Robotnik will return to Earth, implying a sequel, which there is, and has a similar rating, which means it's probably the same quality. Also in a mid-credit scene, Miles Prower, also known as Tails, is teased for the sequel. I've actually never played the game, I was more of a Mario guy, but nonetheless it's cool seeing these characters from the game make the big screen a lot like superheroes making their debut in a movie. All in all, Sonic the Hedgehog has some entertaining scenes. Without the performance of Jim Carrey as Robotnik, this movie would have really been forgettable. Not much really happened. Those things chasing Sonic and the owl didn't show up at any time. Even though Robotnik was an extremely wicked and villainous character, you never felt like Sonic was in any danger when you faced him. You never felt worried for Sonic. He passed out a couple of times but came back because it was convenient for the story. There were a lot of things in the movie that were explored early on in the story but never came full circle. Just like the owl, there were many plot points that were left inconclusive. Tom is labelled as his terrorist for keeping Sonic, so he's a wanted man being chased by the government. And when they defeated Robotnik, who was a part of the government, I found it confusing that he was no longer a wanted man. The government hired Robotnik to chase down Sonic. They've technically committed a felony, but he's just back at his house with his wife being congratulated with a token for never-ending pasta. It just seemed like the writers kind of forgot about this plot point.
While Danny kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet.
The theme of loneliness is frequently stressed in the beginning of the movie, and then kind of dies down as the story progresses. I can't say that it comes full circle. He has a family now, but I never felt like this solved Sonic's problems. I mean, he was displaying some serious levels of mental illness, and I doubt that this plays on in the sequel. Sonic is supposedly a kid in this movie, even though he's being voiced by this guy.
The world!
And it's unclear how long he's been on Earth for. But he was small and had a timid voice on his home planet, so he probably is an adult. And that means his stalking and multiple personality disorder makes him a very dangerous creature. And you know what? I don't blame the government for hunting him down. Sonic the Hedgehog certainly has many problems from a narrative's perspective, but at the same time it's a movie about Sonic in a live-action setting. I wasn't expecting much, and I can't say my expectations were exceeded, but I wasn't entirely bored. It has a few fun moments here and there, but you'd rather just play the game than watch the movie. And that's not a great look for video game films. Maybe if I played the game I would have liked the movie more, but look, my opinion is irrelevant. The movie has been extremely successful just like the game, and there will always be plenty of Sonic related projects to come in the future.